Hello, so I'm sat outside right now and I've been inside all day. I've been eating extremely unhealthily and I haven't been doing as much work as I should have. But it's actually really nice. I'm just like sat here and it's a really nice view, and I know the camera's not gonna pick that up very well, but it's just I've been sat here and I've been looking at focusing on a point in the horizon near the sea, and I've just noticed like how, I don't know, it's weird, it's hard to explain. It's just like how the environment impacts the way that you feel or the way that you experience things. And I know that it is something to do with the individual as well, but the environments that we're inhabiting, they have an impact on us. Like now that I've came outside, I feel a lot calmer. Like when I was in the house, I was feeling a bit on edge and agitated. But coming into like a natural environment like this, it's really nice. And I used to do it a lot more than I do now. And I probably should start doing it more. This is going to be a short video because I've got the key and my mum's going to be home in a minute. But look, they only live over there. So, yeah, it's alright. But I'm not going to be able to explain this, but as I was looking to the horizon, it's like, it feels like my vision shakes. It's really hard to explain, but it's like as you're looking, it's like you see things in the foreground vibrating, because like it's the way that my eyes are interpreting the environment around me. It's all to do with perspective, I guess, and we focus on different things, and I guess I guess we have that ability to sort of distort what we're actually seeing. And how do we even know that what we're actually seeing is how it actually is, or the way that we're seeing the world is how it actually is? And I doubt that it is, because it's based on the nature of the knower. It's based on my own sense experience. I've got 5 senses, maybe more, I don't know, which allow me to perceive the world. Without smell, I wouldn't be able to smell. So without sight, I wouldn't be able to see things. Without hearing, I wouldn't be able to hear the birds tweeting. I wouldn't have anything to pick up on the vibrations which are occurring. If I had poor hearing, I wouldn't be able to hear things as other people hear them, and I don't even know if I hear things as other people hear them, or if my colours are the same as your colours. And I think that's quite an amazing thing. Like, we can't experience the world as it is, or we don't even know if we can experience the world as it is. Like, what if this is the world as it is, the way that we see it, but then we have no way of knowing that? And then that doesn't account for why we have changes in our perception of the world. For example, when I'm in a bad mood, I see the world in a bad way. I put a bad filter on things around me. It's like, oh, well, that looks meaningless. That sunset is insignificant. But then we have a layer of meaning which actually doesn't necessarily change the way the outside world is, but it changed the way it looks. Like, when I look at a tree and I'm not feeling great, I might just be like, oh, it's a tree, I can't see any significance to it. But when I look at a tree and I'm in a certain headspace, I can look at the tree and I can experience the tree in a different way, and it makes the tree actually look different to me. And what's the correct interpretation of a tree? Or is it all just contingent on the nature of my mind and the nature of my senses and the nature of my perceptions? Because that is a possibility, but I feel like the tree must actually have its own form in reality that we just can't experience. And then there's the argument, well, if there's no one there to experience a tree, then is there a tree at all? And that's an extremely difficult question to answer, because you can't imagine that without putting some sort of invisible agent into that situation in order to be able to watch what the tree would be like. But by that time, you've actually put an agent there. So, but arguably, it's hard to say that the tree isn't there. It's just not there in the way that we know it. And so that makes me conclude that the external world is contingent on our own perspective. So yeah. And I wonder if we have the power to change the way we perceive the world. And I don't know through what means we would do that, but perhaps it would start with our speech and our thoughts. Change the way we think about things by changing the way we speak about things. Change our beliefs, and we do that by changing the way that we think and speak about things. And there's probably more to it than that, but I think that's a good place to start, because the way that I believe, as I've heard a few people say, like a few credible people say, is a belief is essentially a thought which has been practiced numerous times and we just eventually adopt it. So we can adopt false beliefs, but, perhaps perhaps there's more, well, I don't know. What constitutes a false belief? Is it a belief of which doesn't have any validity? Obviously, but what about pragmatic beliefs, pragmatic truths, things which may not actually exist physically, but they have some sort of metaphysical value? And I guess you could make this case for religion, but then obviously that's an extremely contentious one or controversial one, which a lot of atheists will dispute and say, oh, I don't need religion to be happy or live a good life. It's like, okay, maybe you don't, but then Jordan Peterson makes the case that we act in a religious sort of way, we act in a way as if God exists. Like, we don't go around killing people. And he says that the fact that there is even any morality at all implies that there must be some sort of God. But he's not very clear on his stance, so I don't really want to mischaracterise him. So if you're interested in that, go look up his views yourself and you'll find out how bloody interesting he is. He did a debate the other day with a guy from this atheist channel that I've watched before, and basically this other guy, I can't remember his name. Nope. Anyway, he does a show. Basically, he'll sit with another atheist, and then people like call in, like Christians or whatever, and they'll have conversations with him about questions to do with God. And yeah, so it's basically arguments, and then Jordan Peterson and this other guy ended up having I think it was about 2-hour conversation on stage. I really should know the name of this because it's not really good me recommending that you watch something that I can't even explain the name of. But the guy he had a conversation with is bald, so if you see Jordan Peterson having a conversation with a bald guy with a grey beard, that's probably the one I'm talking about. But yeah, it's really interesting. They go into some really interesting debates, and they both put forth great arguments for their stance. And yeah, I feel like I should have more opinions about things. And I don't know. I heard a quote today. It's like, stand for something or you'll fall for anything. And I thought it was quite deep. But I feel like it's quite hard to have solid opinions about things when you know that your own being could be deceiving you into perceiving something in a certain way. For example, the tree. My perception on the tree changes, therefore I can't have a solid definition of exactly what the tree is, or a solid knowledge of what the tree is in actuality. And then bring people into the equation, bring ideas into the equation, then it gets even more difficult. When there's solid arguments for both sides, then it's extremely hard to find a clear stance on which side you should be on. And that's not to say there's no right or wrong, but it's a lot more difficult to, I guess, formulate beliefs and opinions on certain matters because, you know, everything's disputable to a certain extent. But then again, some things are more true than others, and I stand by that. Yeah, right, I'm gonna go home anyway because my mum will be home soon, so yeah. Random video, but thank you for watching.